everybody, welcome back to the Small Ball Podcast. This is episode 14. I know, again, we talked last week about taking a little break, but I'm here, Charlie Rogers, with Chancy Rogers and the newest member of our team, Joe Gray. Joe's on the road again. Guys, what's going on?
What's up? I'm in Starkville. Just got off the field doing winter performance up here, and so little damp. It was real foggy, and but the boys got after it. I got a few video. I didn't go full blast like I did the first week. It was foggy, couldn't see, but they boys got after it. Bo Holland is my performance trainer up here, and he's doing a great job. So that's where I'm at tonight. Joe, yeah.
The beauty of technology is that we are all three in different places, like pretty far away from each other, and we're able to sit here and produce a show and have a conversation like we're all in the same room. It's fascinating to me, and some super smart people came up with it. But I love it. But yeah, we had Joe. We'll get to you in just a second. We had practice tonight too. It was another night, just like last Tuesday, where we were supposed to have football practice. It got canceled, so we went to baseball. We went indoors at back 42 and hit a little bit and did some conditioning. And I tell you what, Chancy, Tommy just about killed him tonight.
Oh,
it was rough.
Goodness.
It was rough, but it was good, man. It was good. Jackson came in and he could barely walk, so. He'll be feeling it tomorrow.
Doing the tires and stuff. I know he liked doing.
We were doing weights, like jump. They were jump roping. They were pushing the 45s across the floor. They were doing ladder drills, lunges, burpees. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. So it was good. Nice. Joe, what's going on, brother?
I don't know it. Over here in H-Town. You know, getting the work done. They had a little bonfire this past weekend. Now it's time to get back to making that money. So
Houston, H-Town is Houston.
Oh yeah, H-Town, Houston, man. Come on, Charlie, you gotta get with the lingo. Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm the
guy. What do y'all call Hattiesburg?
Yeah, we call it the bird. We call it the bird.
Yeah. And it was the hub city for the longest.
Hub city, yeah.
Yeah, I think now it's the bird.
That seems to be, you see it on shirts and stuff, man. That seems to be the kind of the theme, what people are going with now. Joe, tell us. I mean, you mentioned it last week briefly, and I hate that it's passed by now. But tell us about the bonfire that you guys did. Saturday night.
So the bonfire is something that we have been putting on for close to, I think it's now 7 years. And it's originally hosted by a family, Lynn and Jennifer McLaurin, their son Tyler and Tanner McLaurin. They're basically they are absolute, almost just as close as blood. To be honest, I consider them blood. And basically, they're an amazing family. They live by grace, and they have been doing it free for 7 years, man. They just enjoy cooking. They enjoy taking care of people, and they enjoy, applying happiness and having people have a good time. And so, one of the biggest things this year is that every single year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, man, this year, man, we had almost 600 people out there this year. And that's a big thing, for a lot of people. And, to get out there, get together, have a good time, nothing negative happened at all. Everyone really enjoyed their time, and they had good food and everything like that. So it was a really good experience, at the end of the day. And we got to donate. We probably, I'm not sure if I can say it. Have you ever seen like a big four-wheeler trailer, wherever the case is? We had the full trailer maxed out, so everybody showed out. They came and donated, and they supported. So that's the biggest thing.
So, did you say how long that's been going on?
7 years.
7 years, and so you guys do it every year. And did it start out as just kind of a party, or did it start out as a fundraiser? Or you said a family started it.
Yeah, so the most part, it definitely started out as more of a yearly gathering, and it was more I wouldn't even necessarily say it would start out as a party. I think it started out as more of us, like all the family, because both the families combined and stuff like that. It just, we have a lot of numbers, so I think that was the biggest thing that everyone really appreciated. But then we started understanding that, all right, we can really get to a community point, and that's where the fundraising, the donating, and especially with it being around hard times, people are in need. So it's a good thing, to combine it with a good time and helping people out.
Okay. I saw videos and stuff. You've done a good job of putting some videos and pictures and things on social media. If you guys don't follow Joe, he told you last time how to do it. I'm sure he can tell you again. But did a good job of putting videos and stuff out there. Food looked really good. Saw lots of chicken. I think a couple of hams.
Hey man,
It looked like a lot of
put
food.
them out. Put them out. You know what I mean?
Who was that? Who was that doing the cooking, Joe?
So that's Lynn McLaurin. He's the father. He's the man on the family. You know what I mean? And he's just an amazing guy, man. He just loves seeing people smile, and I think that's the biggest thing about all of that. You have somebody who he loves to cook. He loves to see people smile, and he loves to see everyone have a good time. And that's the biggest thing, man. That's the beauty of it. People wanting to actually help people out, no matter if that's for entertainment and no matter if that's for, the donations and stuff like that, just actually wanting to see people, have a good time. So
that's not as common today as it once was. So that's man, that's good. That's good.
yeah,
Chancy, we talked about last week the showcase that we were going to have at USM on Sunday. We went to that, had a good time. You want to recap that a little bit?
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Big thanks to Southern Miss and Danny Lynch, Ben Brewer, who kind of lines that up for me every year. And that showcase is something different that I wanted to put together, and it is different. We got guys like we had Brendan Hardy that was there. Shout out to him; he does a podcast too. Brendan, he's with the Rockies, and Joe knows Brendan, and he's able to give them information and help them through the recruiting process, and not just that, just like, how do I get better? How do I get my arm stronger? How do I look like what I'm supposed to look like and how I want to look like? And of course, Perry Turner and Perry.
Brendan, before you get off, Brendan, he's a super nice kid.
Man,
he's super polite, super nice.
He's got a little bit of that Joe love, where it's like when you're around him, you can't, like, he just puts you in a good mood. He's got that personality, and I know, if I was his teammate, I would like him too. And so I love him being around the young kids, and because you want that. I mean, he's got the swagger and the cockiness, but he's not like a turd, and he's likable. And so, as coaches, we want our kids to have guys to look at and say, hey, look, you turn out like this one, you're going to be all right, And so Brendan's one of them, like, anytime he can come, I want him to come and show up and be around the kids. And so he done a great job. Perry Turner, who's with Traction Sports in Hattiesburg, he's the man. I mean, most of the people that listen to this podcast know who Perry Turner is. He trains more kids in the Pine Belt area than anybody. He also has contracts with Summerall High School and William Carey University, and he trains those guys weekly. Perry is just something special. Now, I went to high school. Well, I'm a little older than him, but we went to the same high school. I knew him since he was little and watched him grow up. And great family. His dad was our reporter. I didn't even get his dad on here. I'm going to get both of them. Russell Turner would love to be on this podcast. Charlie, you would love Russell. Y'all remind me of each other a little bit. But I've known him my whole life, and the things he's accomplished is awesome. And I'm lucky to have him show up. He could just send me, somebody else, and just had a baby, and he still showed up. And I try to take care of him as much as I can, but I can't pay him a whole lot, But man, I definitely appreciate it.
It was funny. It was funny with Perry. all those kids out there. I mean, probably over half of them, he knew them and they knew him because they've all gone up there and worked with him at some point. I asked when I was talking to Jackson about going through it, and he was like, "Yeah, Coach Perry remembered me," and I mean, he just remembers all their names, and so it's really cool that they all know him. Already.
Yeah, and then we had Cannon Turner. He's a Pearl River commit. He's been on the podcast. And then Cowboy Joe showed up for my boy.
Yeah, Joe Gray there.
Oh yeah. So him and Brendan had a little home run derby there at the end. Had a little fun. Joe had to knock some rust off a little bit. He was getting mad at himself. He had to finish it with about a 400-something foot bomb at the end that closed the night. That was a $7.25 bomb.
Hey, you know what's crazy is that what I tell you, I think that's what it was. I just need to see something pearly white. That's what it was, man.
I opened a brand new pearl. I said, "All right, I'm done. You lose this one, it's over." He hit it on the trace.
Well, and Joe. I don't remember what I was going to say. I got sidetracked. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, this is what Joe's sidetracked. He's setting up something in his truck. He's going to have a full.
Look, I was just going to ask. Aren't you on your own live on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. Well, it's on Small Ball Instagram, Small Ball Podcast.
Okay.
I was live. I was live. You're live. I just liked it from Small Ball. I'm live on TikTok. Just on my TikTok, okay. And they're like hearing you guys, and I'm already up to 346 likes.
Okay. Because what I was going to say, was if I could go live with you.
On Instagram. Yeah.
That was going to be the case.
Yeah. Well, there's no need to do it because they're seeing exactly what you see right here. They're seeing the stack on Small Ball.
Yeah. Who is it? Did you see this comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. I put that in there.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, somebody asked if let's see, the Swamp Boys asked, "Do y'all play high school or college baseball?" And I just said, "Joe plays pro ball, and the other two are just old guys who can't play anymore." So, I mean, that's pretty accurate, right?
Hey, Look, Chancy knows his stuff. He can get out there right now if he wanted to.
I believe it.
That knee gives me trouble.
I believe it. See, that's what holds us back. It's not the skill level. It's not the knowledge. It's when you get old, Joe. One day you'll figure it out. When you get old, your body breaks down.
I promise you.
So you saying it's the knees? It's the knees.
Well, not the knees. Hold on. I promise you. I've been doing this a while, and I do showcases. Anytime we have a child, you can ask Charlie. I hit every fungo. I throw every pitch. Always. Yep. It's my thing. Well, I'm telling you, I showed up Sunday night. We left Southern Miss, drove all the way to Starkville. I'm telling you, I felt it. Like I still feel it in my shoulder. Just throw that little bit of BP. And I do lessons every day. But I had to back up a little bit, give it a little more to it. But I'm telling you, since I hit 40 does something different. People say 35, but I was a late bloomer, so 40 is hitting me a little different. Like I turned 39. I turned 39 last month, so I'm almost there myself. But I did want to put this up there. We know who. Well, we don't. Not everybody knows who Anchored Resilience is, but that's Allison. You guys know Allison. Man. That's Chancy's wife, and she said no, he cannot still get after it.
Hey, look, she gotta have a little bit more faith in my guy. You know,
she did a few years ago. So, but you see Bourne on here.
That was the next one I was gonna put up there. Bourne said it's knees and hips.
Knees and hips. Yeah,
and Bourne, Anthony Bourne does a lot of. You guys have probably seen him on TV. He does a lot of these hunts and stuff. So he's in decent shape. He's got to go to these remote places and hike and walk and
So
haul
plug in.
giant animals out of the woods, and so, but those knees and hips, he said, get him.
Bro,
But
so if y'all are listening, Anthony Bourne, Brooke Sanders, Stubbs, go follow Real South Hunting on YouTube. All right.
Mhm.
Anthony and Brooke went to Colorado last year, and I remember Anthony was like getting in shape to go to Colorado. And look, my dad's been to Colorado, and it's a big deal, you know. But it's easy just to think about it. But my aunt lived in Boulder for like 2 years. I went and visited her. And I was 21, and you know, I feel the breathing and stuff. I went and played tennis up there, and I was in the best shape of my life. No, it is no joke. You got to get ready for that. Well,
Man,
it is funny watching Anthony, and he's like, oh, I can't breathe. But it's an awesome video. He cleared all his tags. He had 3 tags: mule deer, elk, cow elk, and a bull elk. It's awesome. It's a 2-part video. Go watch it. You don't got to watch anything else, but you'll get hooked. Joe will go watch it tonight, probably while he's in Houston. It is beautiful shots by Brooke Sanders, by the way. Unbelievable shots. It snowed. They had a blizzard like the day after. It was awesome. I was texting them like, guys, this is the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was that episode was actually on TV. Not too long ago. I watched it. It was on there, and they're on there quite a bit.
That sounds like that's where I need to be. That's where I need to be. You know what I mean? I get done. You know, I get back from my trips out here in Houston. You know, get everything done. Sounds like where I need to be is with Anthony Bourne.
You just get Bourne to take you.
Oh
yeah, that's all I need. But you're gonna be mad at me because
Real South Hunting was special guest Cowboy Joe.
Joe would be perfect.
I'm outpacing, man. We don't need no side by side. I'm the side by side. You just gonna have to keep up.
I did. I want to get to Allison's question. She did put a question in here. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. But Swamp Boy says that you know him, Chancy. And he says he's pretty young. So I did think it was funny. He said he was pretty young, so he doesn't really have any problems. He doesn't have to recover. So he just needs to enjoy that while he can.
Well, I got to see. So Swamp Boys have commented before on my videos, but I don't know. He says I know who he is. He didn't say his real name.
Yeah, no, he just says Mr. Chancy knows me. So.
Okay, I'll have to go. I have to go look him up.
Yeah, you have to let us know who he is. He says his name's Levi. Levi.
So Levi Odom.
I know Levi Odom too now.
So if he's young, let's see what
McDonald.
McDonald, yes.
Levi McDonald.
Yes, he's young.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you watching, Levi. Hang with us. So Coach Chancy is going to answer a question here. Miss Allison asked, "What do you do for recovery?" So that's actually, we're going into the off season right now. We are talking to a pro guy. We're talking to a coach. I think this is a great topic for this show is, how do you recover? And so, I would love to get it from both of you guys' perspective, from you as a coach, Chancy, and then also from you, Joe, as a player. So whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Where you at, Joe? You want it first?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go. I mean, the biggest thing when it comes to recovery, especially in the off season, when you're focused on weightlifting, you're focused on the gym, you're focused on trying to get everything going on with the swing. We're in November, right? So you're kind of getting started working out those kinks and what you got going on with your swing, but also you're in the heaviest part of your weightlifting going into December in that block. So I think the biggest thing is your recovery starts with the day before too. So, it's about, you getting that most adequate level of sleep that you can get. And are you, after the fact, what are you putting in your body? You know what I mean? And then from that point on, it's just a matter of is food relax, because a thing that we had that's very common nowadays with us as athletes and people in general is that we kind of overstimulate ourselves. If we're always around our phone, right? As an athlete, if we go and we work out 3 hours in a day, and then we go hit another two, and then we go to sleep at, what I'm saying, while we're in the phone. One of the biggest things one of the hardest things that's hard to do. Imagine this. Imagine you going to sleep, or you going in your bed, and you putting your phone away from your body. You say you're not going to touch your phone the second you step in your bed at 9 o'clock. You say you lay your head down, you get in your bed at 9 o'clock, and you say, I'm not going to touch my phone the rest of the night. 90% of people nowadays cannot say they can get, they can stay with their phone.
It's
But
so
if you think
hard.
about it, what I'm saying? If you think about it, the biggest thing is that just like anything, it's magnetic waves in your phone. Now it sounds like some like science do, but whatever the case is, your body and your brain stays stimulated even when you're sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
it's just about,
even the light, even the light, going into your eyes and into your brain. It releases. We get Allison on here to really tell us, but it releases endorphins and things that keep your body awake. They tell you, if like in class, if you start to get sleepy in class, you should look at the lights, stare at the lights, because it will release those endorphins and it will wake you up. And so it's the same thing. If you lay in a dark room looking at your phone in your bed, which 90% of people do it at night, scrolling TikTok, scrolling whatever, watching the Small Ball podcast, whatever you're doing. If you lay in a dark room doing that, you're getting this light going into your brain, into your eyes, and it's telling your body to stay awake, when in reality you need to be going to sleep.
Right. And so you never actually recover. You never actually recover.
I gotta put this up there because people don't say it very often.
Yeah.
Right, Charlie. You're right, Charlie.
You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's big on that. I'll let you finish too, Joe. But just this is what this podcast is about. Somebody's going to say something, we're going to just spread it on out. So the sleep thing. So I've never had an issue with sleep. Like if I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. All the way until about 5 years ago. And I've had sleep issues, and I'm one of them that's stubborn. I don't get sick often, so I don't go to the doctor. I'm just one of them. I don't think nothing's wrong with me, but until I feel like something's wrong with me. But a sleeping issue is a thing. I have a sleeping issue, and yes, it's like my ADD has kicked in after 35, and if I sit there with nothing on, oh Lord, I'm like going crazy. So then, I get on the phone. Then I get stimulated. I'll get where I'm watching a YouTube, minimize it, and play a game at the same time. That's how bad my ADD is. And I'll get crazy with it because if I sit there, I'm like thinking about all the stuff I got to do, and it's just really stress. So thank God I don't have to wake up and play a baseball game. Because that's not good, guys. Joe is right. Put that thing down, turn it off, set an alarm, do whatever, and get some sleep. Eat good, whatever it takes to get some good sleep, because it is a thing. She says meditation. There's all kinds of things. I think everybody's different. Everybody's got their own issues with sleep. Want to sleep too much, can't go to sleep, but. No, that's huge, and I would say I don't know nothing about it until 5 years ago, and I deal with it every night.
Yeah, man, and one more thing, is that like having an off season, I feel like the best off season I had. I moved to Dallas, and I was working on the Matt Kemp and those guys, right? So the biggest thing.
That's a nice name drop in there, Joe.
I know, right?
I was working with Matt Kemp.
The biggest thing I could say was, man, I felt so much more energized when, like, for instance, maybe I was just like on that lock-in mode, right? But I felt way more energized in the morning when I committed to go ahead and get in the gym early in the morning. You know what I mean? I was going, and I started my day early, and the biggest thing was that at 9 o'clock, I told myself no matter what it is. Now, if I chose to stay up, I chose to stay up. But no matter what, at 9 o'clock, I was going to be in the bed. And I always kept the TV out of my room. I kept all the, you know what I'm saying, anything out of my room. So it's just like I would wake up almost just like clear headed, you know, and it just was like one of the biggest things. But I felt so, you know, so much better. And she said crowd therapy. So anything actually like any temperature, you know, like or contrast, heat in, you know, actually like physical recovery, heat in ice, you know, like cryotherapy and all that. That is very, very good. You know, that is very, very
Mm-hmm.
good for the body. And a lot of it is really just simple, man. It's also about what you put in your body. You know, if you put bad stuff in your body, it's a very cliche thing. You put bad fuel in the car, you know, it's not going to work. So
I have a quick question before we get to Chancy's perspective. But Joe, you Swamp Boys wants to know if Nolan can come on one of the podcasts. Absolutely. Absolutely, Nolan can come on the podcast. We had Jackson on one time. He had a good time. We'll get Nolan on here. So, you know, in baseball specifically, you guys play so many games, and you play them. You know, you may play a game 5-6 days a week.
yeah,
What are you doing? Say you play a game Monday, you know, at noon, and then you got another game Tuesday night. What are you doing between those games to rest, recover, and still be a person? I mean, you still have things that you have to do. So what are you doing to do all that stuff to be ready to play again the next day?
man, I feel like the biggest thing is I'm not gonna lie to you. If you don't have any obligations, it's the easiest way. It's so easy, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But let's say you're a person, you know, you have a girl, you have a girlfriend, you know, wife, you know, wherever the case is. It's like as soon as you get out that game, you got to give yourself a few hours to kind of like you said, be yourself, be human, get away from it. You know what I'm saying? You put your mind somewhere else, but you got to start telling your mind to start preparing for the next day. You know, so the biggest thing is like you say, all right, cool. You know, from you know, like you said, a 12 o'clock game, you get done with that 12 o'clock game around 3 or 4. All right, the rest of the day, you know, you wind down, go eat, bro, go smile, go do something. I mean, if you get done with a game at 4 o'clock, you can go watch a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Go do something that you know takes your mind away. You know what I mean? And then after that, long story short, do you tell yourself, all right, let's figure out how I can start preparing myself for the game tomorrow? You know, and a lot of that is like, I bet if it's a simple, it could be as simple as an Epsom salt bath, or maybe you just, you know, you do anything. You have you know your massage guns. You know, some people they buy like the little stem there, the stem electric stem therapy
Mm-hmm.
machines.
A stem
You know, it's
machine.
just
Yep.
little stuff. Man, you can play the game with the stem machine on your body. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you can figure out ways, and then the next day, you know, you get to the park a little earlier. You may need to wake your body up and your senses up, you know, get in the gym, and then bam, you know, the game, you know, the next day is the next day. So
Do
Yeah.
you guys have stem machines and like the muscle guns and that kind of stuff like in the dugouts?
yeah, so like the stem machines, no. Usually, like, and here's the deal, right? You don't like the thing with pro ball is that you don't want to look like you're hurt. And it isn't
Yeah,
like a
right.
is
No,
it
I get it.
like
Yeah.
a cliche. Well, it's like a cliche thing. It's like a thing that they always say, like the veterans. They always say, um, don't be in that training room too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so they're like, yeah, try your best to stay out that training room. Now um that could be a lot of like kind of back and forth, like, dang, like I actually am feeling it. Should I go to the training room or no? And sometimes that will hurt guys. They're scared to go ahead and get what they need because they don't want to look like a guy who's a high maintenance guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in the dugout, they usually always keep like the massage guns. Like that's nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's just some little soreness, this and that. That's nothing. But the stem stuff, that's kind of like what they keep in the training room, because if you're like walking around in a dugout in the middle of a game with a stem machine on, that ain't a good look. You know, that means
Mm-hmm.
you actually like are hurt. You know, so
Chancy, from your perspective, well, first of all, Dawson Temple says hello, Chancy, on Instagram.
What's up?
But from your perspective as a coach and working with younger athletes, than the pro guys. A lot of the pro guys, they know how to take care of themselves. They research that stuff, but you're working with younger kids that don't necessarily know those things. So what are you telling them specifically this time of the year as we go into kind of shutdown time, the arm, getting the body better, that kind of stuff? What are you telling kids right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff we do is because of what I've learned for the pro guys. I mean, I'm one of them that I'm listening because 20 years ago things were a lot different. After pitchers threw, they went and ran 3 miles. They don't do that anymore. My brother Tyler Bray, who I mentioned a lot, he pitched for the Cardinals organization, and he totally changed everything I do, and I tell guys to do after they throw. They have an outing. So I try to educate them on that. It's all out there of like what's going to recover your body better. And then it's very individual. Some guys still need to run 3 miles after they run. Sometimes you find out that some guys need to run 3 miles before they throw. I think we done it last year with Mitch. I made him run. I was mad or something. And Mitch is the most accurate he's ever been. And I was like, dude, seriously, like maybe there's pitchers that run before they throw because it just gets their blood flowing or whatever the case may be. And I urge kids to individually find what works for them. That's why I like the variety in this time of year that we do with our program. I try to show them as much different stuff as possible. And one thing, you got to like it. For you to do it all the time, you got to find something that like, all right, I don't hate this. Or I felt better, even though I might not like it, but I felt better the next day. So I'm going to do that again. And that's, in all, that's what I want kids to do, because it's just not a thing. We're in such a performance world of like, we just want them to do good. And, nobody, I shouldn't say nobody. Yes, there's people telling them, but not all the time. They don't tell them, hey, this will help you do better. So that's where like the actual performance side is there. It's not about them performing on Saturday and Sunday when we go to tournaments. Is getting prepared to perform later on. So that's what we're doing right now. I love this time of year. We had a good little group here in Starkville tonight, and I had Bo Holland, and shout out to him. He don't have a lot of social media, but he's actually a firefighter here in Starkville. But he's worked with Baylor and Iowa and Mississippi State performance training, and so he's kind of like turning him into my Perry. Very educated on it, and does a great job with these kids. So, he's preparing them like just running in general, starting and stopping, stuff that they need to get better at, stuff that kids don't really do anymore. They don't race on playgrounds as much as we used to. They don't, my big thing, they don't climb trees. They don't jump stuff, because most of the time it's like schools won't let them do it. One thing, like no running. Don't jump over this. We don't need a lawsuit, whatever. There's a lot of like, let's tone them down instead of turn them loose. And so when we do these 4 weeks of this, it's kind of a way that we like, look, we're putting the baseball down for an hour and a half, and we're going to go, here you go, turn yourself loose. And last week we had a lot of fun in Summerall. Me and Ty was out there with Joe, come and done it Wednesday. We had a lot of fun. We done a daggum a med ball volleyball thing to finish it off. That was Joe's idea. It was great. I've done that before with soccer, and it made them compete. But we turned them loose, let them have fun. But they was using all muscles of their body and making their body active. One problem I see in like this travel ball world is that we're very show up and perform. And not really prepared. We just want the results, and so, nobody really advertises like getting there on the youth level, more or less, like Perry Turner and them, they do a great job on their social media with doing it. Shout out to Josh Kittrell. I see him posting stuff over there at Top Level. He's been on the podcast. They're doing a lot of great stuff, and that's what I want, and I want the world to appreciate that. I want the baseball world, the youth world in particular, because there's a lot of educated parents. I'm like, they just want their kid to be a good baseball player too. They don't know, and so I'm always learning. I want the kids always learning. So that's kind of my long-winded rundown is like, let's find out what fits you. We need to create, what's going to make you better, and do that. Do that all the time. Do it during Thanksgiving holidays. Do it during Christmas holidays.
That's good, boy.
Not do it.
We've talked in the past about getting kids at a young age and kind of showing them what you're supposed to do so that when they get older, it's something that you just do, and you explain it better than me because you explained it to me. But if you can teach them at a young age, hey, you're supposed to work on baseball for an hour a day. Well, then when they get older, they do it because that's just what you're supposed to do. It's not something that they're having to make themselves do. Just like eating 3 meals a day. Like we learned a long time ago, you do that. So now we just do it because that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I say that a lot. Joe can relate to this too, but anybody that dedicates or is a baseball player, like they say, I am a baseball player. Whenever it's time for you to hang up your cleats, there's a transitioning. Some are like ready to get out, and they can say that, but their body, their mind, and everything, it's almost like a mourning process because you're so used to doing something that since you were 2 years old, it's hard to just completely shut that down. So you're right. That's what I compare it to. It's like you're so used to doing something. And if you give them something right now, when they get in high school, they're going to be so used to it. That includes the working out part. So many kids do not get to where they need to be level-wise, getting to play college baseball because they don't do what they need to do to get there, mainly in the weight room, mainly being able to run. I mean, it's such a factor that you can't be slow anymore. I mean, you can't be a catcher and be slow anymore. It's just It is what it is. Everybody's fast, and so that's why you hear. I mean, you're around me, around the kids, saying, "Hey guys, go run up the driveway, just run." Running is part of being an athlete. Just go run. You don't have to run a mile. Just run a little bit. Do something.
Yeah.
What you think? Taking notes now?
I'm gonna be yeah, man. Look, that's that money talk, but that's another story. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I will say, especially with what you were saying about kids just not being. It's like kids now are restricted. When I was in elementary school, man, when I say the field days, having field days and us just trying to figure out who was the fastest person in second grade. You know what I mean? Like we did everything. We did everything. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's all the way to the point of like, man, we were on the field, the little field that we use for PE, and just physical time. Man, hey, kids don't even fight no more. Kids don't even fight. You know what I mean? Like you had to come. But that's the thing though. Like nowadays, I feel like
Joe, you're gonna get banned. You're gonna get banned from podcasting because all these mamas, when their kids get in a fight, be like, "Joe told me I could."
Look, all I'm saying is that in connection with what Chancy's talking about, is that a lot of times, man, a kid finds out on his own what's his limits, and they find that out through their own experiences as a young kid. Like me, I realized that I could do athletic stuff, messing around on the monkey bars over there at Woodley Elementary.
Monkey bars. I was like, monkey bars are gone too now because too many.
Oh yeah, those have been outlawed.
Hold on,
can't have monkey bars anymore.
I guarantee you, if we do, everybody likes polling since we had an election. I guarantee you, if you've done a poll and shoulder growth plate injuries, by the time they remove monkey bars, and when all these shoulder growth plate stuff's happening, there's some similarities of when the monkey bars left, shoulder growth plate stuff started happening. it's a thing. Kids don't do that. They don't know how to like control their body weight and use their upper body to get stronger. The shoulders get weak.
Right.
When I was a kid, I didn't even know. I don't even think growth plates existed when I was a kid. I never heard that until I had a kid that played sports, but I never ever heard of growth plates before.
And you know what else is crazy? You know what I never heard of when I was younger? Hamstring injuries. None of that. I never heard of none of that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, of course you can say it's because obviously as you get older, you start to really, get developed muscles and things like that. But at the end of the day, all I did as a kid was run. I didn't have no off time of me not running. You know what I mean? Like I was running everywhere. It wasn't, it just goes back to say that kids just don't have the opportunities to figure out what they can do on their own anymore. And they don't figure that out until it's later. You know what I mean? Like I could jump, I don't know. I could just like broad jump for my age better than a lot of stuff because I was doing it in sand pits at school.
Right. Look how far I could jump.
You had to jump across the creek to get to your friend's house.
Like Joe, we did that. We did that Thursday. So you done the Wednesday group last week with me. Thursday we got to go outside. I promise you, I put my little hitting stick. I said, all right, I want you to do a flat-footed jump as far as you can, mark it. Y'all try to beat each other. They don't want you to run, get a running start, jump as far as you can. And kids were scared to jump. Some of them would just kind of like step over it. I'm like, no, jump. But then there would be some that would just let it. I got videos of it. It'll be out there. But
and one of the things. Sorry, go ahead, Chancy.
I was just saying they started having fun with it, and like Joe was talking, like he just done that for fun. He didn't realize he was creating himself into a pro athlete, but just little things like that does create that. It really does.
Well, it's one of the things that we measured at the showcase. That's one of the things that Perry did was a broad jump, right? You do the 60, you do your he calls it 5-10-5. We called it a 3-cone drill or shuttle run, but you do that and you do the broad jump. And that tests your explosiveness and those skills that are important to athletics. You're right. Kids don't do it, but they very rarely run around their neighborhoods anymore.
Right. I mean, it's a different world. So that's one reason I'm in business. And so is Perry Turner, guys like Perry Turner, performance trainers, because if not, then you're not going to keep up with the kids doing that stuff. Because, it's there. You still see it. I mean, one of the fastest guys I've ever, played high school with me. He had to, like Joe talked about running everywhere. He ran everywhere barefooted. It was like McLean, Mississippi, on the other side of the tracks. You ran to Auntie's house. You ran to cousin's house to get something to eat. You ran up to the gas station, and he ran a 6.2, 660. Little P, Antonio Anderson. I need to send him. I need to send him this podcast. He'd love it. I talked to him not too long ago, but he lived with me. But he was so fast. And he was a small guy, but he had to run everywhere to survive. And so I'm a big believer in that. Like, take your shoes off and run outside all the time, kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Ride a bike, do all that stuff. Climb on, find you one of those band sets of monkey bars somewhere and climb on it and all that stuff. Yeah, you can't have those anymore. Mamas are scared. Look, with what I do, working with kids and having campuses and stuff, we have rules now, man. There's a book this big of playground rules. And so if we have, say we have we get a playground set, slide, monkey bars, just a normal playground set, you have to have like the mulch stuff under there, and it has to be so thick, either the rubber tires or the wood mulch or whatever it is. There are rules on how thick that has to be based on how tall the jungle gym is. There's so many rules, man, and guidelines. When you didn't have that stuff before, I remember this huge slide at one of the parks in Laurel that we used to go to all the time. I can't remember which park it was, Daphne Park maybe, but it was a slide. It was one of the tallest slides I've ever seen. right? And you get to the top, there's no handrails, there's no rails on the side. I mean, you get to the top of the ladder and it's just a piece of metal going down. Like there's not even anything to hold on to get on the slide part. And man, we slid on that thing a million times. Burned our butts on it because it was hot. But I'm still here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a thing, and we say like kids are softer and stuff, and every generation says that, and it's because of the rules we created. You're right, but the kids don't come out soft. I promise you, they want to climb that. I mean, there's a Cornerstone has a very nice little like playground set when you first walk in Starkville, where the baseball fields are. So nobody knows what Cornerstone is. And Nolan's not he's not one of the kids like, hey, I want to go stop at the playground, but they have like this rope climbing thing. He's like, Daddy, you think I can make it to the top? And this was just a few weeks ago. I was like, sure. We kind of had time before a lesson. I picked him up for school. And I was like, all right, make it to the top. And that determination that he had, he had to use. I mean, he got hard. As he started, he had to use his upper body and pull himself up and. But yeah, of course, like you said, there's about 8 inches of padding underneath it. If he fell, I wasn't worried about it. But he's athletic enough that he's going to hold us. He ain't going to fall. I don't think he's going to fall. But he loved that, and every kid does. Climbing a tree. Me and Perry has had conversations about that all the time. I think climbing trees is like America's downfall pastime. Kids being able to pull themselves up. Think about it. You grab a limb, you got to be able to pull yourself up, get a leg up there, move your body in positions. Man, that's building strength, just natural strength. And so, yeah, that's gone away for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right.
What
Joe, thoughts?
Climb a tree or two back in the day.
Hey man, I climbed a lot of them trees. If you really want to talk about, I got a story about me climbing a tree, and that dealing with some coon hunting, but I ain't gonna say that. You know what I mean? But long story short, man, it's just like you're right, and I think it comes back to the fact that like we agreed on. It's just like nowadays, man, there's so many restrictions, and of course, it's all about safety and a lot of stuff, man. But you're restricting kids at a younger age to figure out what is it they can do. I mean, one of the biggest things about school in general at one point was about making sure kids were getting adequate exercise. You know what I mean? And that was like something that we actually had pride for. Now it's like, no offense to people who are PE teachers, but what are y'all there for? Because I don't really know what we're doing, for PE, other than maybe shooting around the basketball. But I mean, just like you were saying about the monkey bars, man, no. Charlie was saying about the monkey bars and having like restrictions and things like that with the mats. Man, you know what? How we used to find out whether or not we went up too high or not. If we fell down and had a broken arm. That's how we found out. You know what I'm saying? That's how we found out we went up too high. All right, I'm too high. I'm way too high. And then you fall, and then next you crying, and your parents come up to the school, and why you do it? I don't know.
In defense for the PE teachers out there, the same thing. They're covered in all kind of rules, and they don't want to get fired, and we're in that kind of society that I promise you, my stepdad, Coach Bray, coached baseball for 20-something years, and he's a principal. I go sit in his office. He gets more phone calls, not phone calls like they used to. If a parent called, it's because they're making sure that if their kid got in trouble, it done got his licks, and they're coming to give them more licks. But they're calling him to say that their baby didn't do nothing wrong, and so all that creates.
They want somebody fired.
Yeah, they want somebody fired. So everybody's looking for somebody. It's somebody else's fault all the time, including the schools. And it's all. Look, hats off to the educators out there. And also the coaches, high school coaches. I promise you, Coach Bray would have gotten fired, all the stuff he did to us. And I tell him all the time, I said, you would have to fire yourself for what you did. He's like, oh, no, I promise you. And I know I sound like the old guy, but it's like it has always changed. Yeah, back in the old days, there was some stuff that was maybe sketchy, but every generation. But from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, about 10 years ago, things really changed. I don't know what happened, but something really changed, and you can't do nothing. I went and helped high school coaches out, and they punishment running is almost non-existent anymore. And it makes it hard to coach with that. And so, that'll be another podcast because I'd love to get a high school coach or really a college coach on to add the NIL to that mix of how it's harder to coach kids because of that. And the only kids you can coach is the motivated ones. Sometimes, there was days I needed to get motivated. Somebody needed to motivate me, and that might have been some punishment running, to get my attention. I'm sure Joe Hartfield got y'all's attention in a few days, huh, Joe?
Man, I'll tell you this, man.
Joe Hartfield was old school, man.
Yeah, to add to what you were talking about, we live now in today. We live in a world when you said about 10 years ago that stuff started to change. We live in a world now where it's okay, we don't like this place, we move on to the next. Okay, we don't like this, we move on to the next. Okay, we don't like how you spoke to me. Move on to the next. Like we live in a world now where it's so, and the thing is that no offense to anyone, because I ain't got no kid. I just know based on my experience with my own father. When it was something I did not like, and honestly, it was very rare I did not like anything athletics. Like I was a kid that I didn't mind someone getting in my tail. I didn't mind that, because I felt like it was because they cared. So, just to say, it's just like now it's like you don't have that support even from a lot of parents sometimes. Not everyone, but a lot of parents sometimes to say, hey son, like he's doing this for this, and we got to sit here and figure this out. He's not gonna run away. All right, like we got to figure out how to be successful here. And, that was one of the biggest things. Like, I commend my dad for, like with Joe Hartfield. Now, me and Joe had a really special relationship, and I'll tell you this. There was times where Joe had no reason to get in my tail, but to motivate the rest of the team,
right?
He would say something slick earlier in practice and be like, Joe, I may have to do it. I may have to do it today. And I said, all right, I got you. And he would just light into me to let everyone know, like, nah, like
if he's getting,
he ain't just getting on us.
Nobody's off limits.
Right.
Yeah, nobody's off limits,
I know exactly. I mean, I knew Joe before he came to Hattiesburg when he was at Lumberton. Him and Coach Bray were friends, and he would bring kids to our showcase we've done at Greene County. But I knew what kind of coach he was. Played against him, coached against him, and so I knew that. But Coach Bray done that to me. I was the stepson, and I was the kid. I was terrible. I was not good, and like 9th, 10th grade. But he would do the same thing to me. He would get into my rear end and to get everybody's attention, like, hey, he's getting on the Chancy. Like, Chancy works harder than everybody. It's like, I got to turn it on. So, it's the same thing. But, yeah, it's hard for coaches to do that anymore. I promise you. It's something. It's
hard. Because they just, not to say, but it's like we said, bro, we live in a world where, I'll be honest with you. Nowadays, like even less, if Joe Hartfield got on to any kid like the way he got on to us sometimes, man, they would be like, "Oh, I'm transferring." Okay, I don't care. I'm transferring. I don't like this. I'm gone. But
to bring it kind of back to the small ball podcast, but we see that in travel ball probably more than anywhere. Right. And travel ball probably started some of that mentality, but we see it in travel ball so much. People jump ship and there's a difference too between going from one team to another team when the season's over, whatever. But you see, Chancy, you see it all the time. People jump ship in the middle of the year.
I deal with that weekly and probably multiple times a week. Not necessarily them leaving. I talk them out of leaving. I try to explain to them.
But they will if you don't baby them, which is the whole point.
Yeah, regardless, they're not happy, so they need to talk to somebody about it. So I've turned into a counselor sometimes. But no, it's so common, and you just people. We are in the world. What social media has, it's created us being able to do this, but it's also created people being able to just express their feelings all the time about their opinions. I shouldn't say their feelings, but their opinions of, I don't like this, so I'm going to talk about it, and somebody needs to know about it, and so that's become a problem on our end because you're like, all right, well, coach has done bad, or I don't like this kid, or whatever. But it's mainly coaches. Number one phone call I get is that our coaches didn't treat a player like their parent thought they should be treated, whether it's playing time or they ran or practices aren't, he's not getting enough reps at short or whatever. So my main response is we are an outlet for your child to get better. If you think he needs to get better at somewhere else, make sure he gets better there. I don't care what age it is. If I think Nolan, he's 6, okay, he's a pretty good shortstop, pretty good infielder. He's going to play shortstop for his team for a while, but he likes being a catcher. I'm not going to fuss at his travel ball coach like, he really needs to get some reps behind the plate. No, I'm going to make sure he gets reps behind the plate. So I usually turn it over like, hey, you do more instead of complaining to me. You do more, and you'll see a better result. In the nicest way possible. I'm pretty good at it these days.
I think that kind of answers. So Allison asked the question: does it start with parents? Does it start with the parents and how kids are raised now, which is different? But I think you're kind of answering that question. I think it does. But it all comes back to the same thing. It's instant. It's the instant. People want instant feedback, instant gratitude.
Instant success. They want to be able to, jump on their phone and be able to call somebody, text somebody, whatever, or even like, buy something. I want to be able to, our patience is literally, we worn it thin to where, and we're all guilty of it, but you have to be able to be aware and step back and say, all right, what's better? We had a conversation last night. We had one of her team members over and watching the Cowboys game. He's a Cowboys fan, so I cooked some swordfish. So this is how broad we are. Cooked some swordfish that I got from Kroger and a tuna. And he's never had tuna and stuff, so I enjoy giving him something he's never had.
Instant gratification, Allison. Thank you very much. That was the word I was looking
for. This guy, he no kids, loves Nolan. Nolan loves him, but Nolan looks at him like a buddy. Like he goes and hangs out with him. And he's in Allison's field. So like he's always like he's messing with Nolan, but like helping Nolan too. He wants Nolan to get better at certain like reacting to stuff. Like Nolan would say, I don't care, just being a kid kind of. But he kept saying it. And he was like, well, what does that mean? You do care. You wouldn't be saying it. Like he was making him rethink. And it's beautiful to see a guy that don't have a kid, that's not, emotionally attached in a sense like us as parents are, and us being able to sit back and go, you're right, and that helps. And then, I tell him stories of, when Allison was pregnant with Nolan. Thank God I've got a wife that gets into this kind of stuff too. But like the saving the kid from scraping his knee when he's trying to run and he falls down. If you just let that kid get back up, he's going to keep doing what he was originally trying to do. Him falling down wouldn't be an issue. But if you go try to save that kid, guess what's going to happen when he's 12 years old? He's going to look for somebody to save him when not a big deal. It was not a big deal that happened. But if most of the time a toddler, if they're trying to run, go somewhere, they are determined. And it carries on. It carries on through adult life. if you allow yourself just to stay determined and don't let I just fell down, get back up and keep going to where you're going. But we want to save them. We want to save them a lot.
If they fall down, they're going. They immediately, you can watch a toddler. They fall down, they immediately look around to see who's looking, and when they see who's looking, they're looking for a reaction. And if you don't react or you're not looking, they'll get up, they'll go right about their business. But if you react, they're going to match your reaction, and it's going to be generally negative, because if you are reacting to something like that, you're babying them usually. And they're going to start bawling and crying and whining and all this stuff. But they immediately, you watch them, when they fall down, they immediately look around to see who's looking and how they're reacting, so that they can base their reaction on that. Joe, you were going to say something a while ago, and
we got on babies.
Yeah,
no, it's all good. Yeah, I ain't in that page. You know what I'm saying right now. So let y'all be the experts on that part. But what I will say into the thing that Charlie, the comment that Charlie made about travel ball and things that matter, and whether or not Allison said about where it starts with the kids and with the parents. It's very simple math, right? And I don't mean to say anything because whatever the case is, but it's just like, if I pay for something, what do I expect? What do I expect in return for something I pay for? I expect
service
results.
or a product,
exactly.
or a result,
Right. So the thing is that I think nowadays too, that because of travel ball and because of the simple principle that there's money involved, it's just a simple transaction of money involved. Parents expect that their money is going to guarantee something with their kid. And the thing is that I think the problem is that you have to put that money in there, whatever case is, for the simple fact of what it costs to go to tournaments and stuff like that. But I think a lot of parents are taking that because they spend money, I'm making my kid better. No, you need to get your kid to understand how to become better without that money first. And this money is just to help make sure you get to where you need to be location-wise.
It's the same thing as parents paying for college. You can, you pay for the exact same amount. It's up to them. You pay $40,000 for a year of education, and one kid excels and like, oh, this is because I paid this much to go to wherever, and the other kid doesn't do well, and it'd be like the parent blaming the college. I paid this much money. He should be doing good and getting college education. No, he's got to get the college education. You paid
happens all the time.
You paid for the opportunity and the facilities and whatever you paid for. Nicer the college, whatever. It's the same concept. While we're on it, and we'll close it out. I want to close it, but I want to end the topic with this, because Joe made me think about it. The same thing we just talked about, Charlie. Joe is an example of that. So I know his daddy. I know how his daddy coached him, raised him, everything. Joe had some fall downs in pro ball, but not one time. He didn't call me and pout. He called me with like even more motivated. And look at him right now, like same thing. Like that's his personality, because his parent pushed him like, you're gonna fail, bro. You gotta keep on rocking. You're determined. You gotta keep on rocking, and that's gonna carry you. And that's just hats off, Joe. I didn't mean to call you out, but I appreciate it because I'm able to show kids that. And because it doesn't happen all the time. I promise you, I've had phone calls I've got from ex-players that they go to fall in a JUCO or anyway, and they struggle. Like, oh, coach, there's this, there's that, all these excuses and all the. I'm like, just go. You're determined. Go. Keep going. The doors are open. If you stay determined, the doors will open up and you'll be fine. And it might be
every time.
It might be something else.
Yeah, every time we've talked to Joe on this podcast, and when I've talked to him at football games, at halftime, Joe left. So
He got mad at us?
Yeah, he's mad at us. He left. But every time I've talked to Joe, we've talked to Joe. You talk about the teams he's played for and that kind of stuff, and he never will say anything bad, right? And he'll in fact he'll say, "I'm not going to say anything bad. This is just what happened. This is what I did. This is what I could have done. Whatever." But he's always very positive about those things, even though he probably could complain, he probably could whine, and he doesn't do that. But Chancy, we have, what we've done tonight? It was perfect that I put that comment in there earlier. I wish I could say I knew what was going to happen, but we have absolutely reinforced the "we are the old guys" mentality tonight. We've talked about kids don't play anymore. We've talked about there's no more monkey bars. We've talked about back in my day we didn't have growth plates. We have absolutely reinforced the old man.
That's our title.
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah. Joe's back.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
we were just dogging you.
You got mad at us for calling you out. But
no, not at all, man. I mean, the biggest thing about that was just simply, like Johnson, you know me since I was a little kid, man. So you know what the case is, and just the biggest thing is I always wanted to just work. And I think a lot of that ADHD, I gotta be honest with you, I ain't never get medicated for that. But I think I just wanted to always.
And hats off to Daddy Joe. I promise you. You look, you're the lucky ones. Look, and when you see him, you tell him that your boy said hats off.
Oh no.
And it just shows. And look, I want parents to like want to do that. Like when parents think they got it figured out, I feel like that they're screwed. I never got it figured out. I love learning from parents that are successful with kids and whatnot. And some people look at success in a different way. I look at little stuff like that. What I talked about of you're not looking for excuses. You just going like, I got to get better. I got to hit. I know I got to hit. Yeah. But same thing when you working, man. I mean, you could just. Anybody could have got $2 million and it'd be like, yeah, I made it, man. Yeah. No, you ain't doing that. You ain't never done that. The 6 months after you got drafted, you done told me, yeah, I done got my taxes back. I'm investing. I'm doing this. It's a mentality that got created into you a long time ago. You just didn't know. Yeah. And you understand when you have little Joe number 3 coming out.
Hey, but I mean, dog, it's just. I would say this, man, because my dad was a basketball player. He knew baseball in some cases, but my father was a basketball player. And one of the biggest things that he realized was that he was okay because at first my dad put me in basketball. He was trying to live his dream through me with that round basketball, but he realized that my focus, I just didn't have that passion in that sport. But I did in football and baseball, and then, for him, he was being honest with himself. Man, I don't really know too much. So that's when Allen, Jerry, all them, those guys, they knew baseball. So he wasn't scared. Dr. Thornton, that was one of the guys, but, back then that was heavy, yeah. He was like, he wasn't scared to say, hey, look, being honest, my son has potential, but he ain't the best. And my dad wasn't scared to tell me, like, look, bro, you're not the best player on this field. So it's up to you what you want to do. And that was my biggest thing, man. Like, I'll tell Chancy, I'll be honest, man. Growing up, when we were at Dixie Youth and stuff like that, man, if they had a list of the quality of players that was at Dixie Youth, Dixie Boys, you know what I'm saying, in that age range, I wasn't in the top 5. Not with how those guys were playing at that time. Yeah. I was probably like
you had 8. You had AJ, Luke Hudson.
Luke Hudson, Destin Payton, CJ Anderson when he was younger. You know what I mean? All these guys.
Dexter was.
I was like number 8. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about, you
were good. You were good though, but it was like you're right. It wasn't like I knew you were going to be good because of other reasons. And AJ was the same way. And AJ's had a great career. Did he end up getting drafted out of Cary last year?
Well, so he ended up signing somewhere as a free agent.
Did he? Okay. I'm glad he's still playing because he had good stuff. Anyway, we'll get into that. We might get him on the podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about that next week because we got to wrap this up. But I do want to say, Joe, that you called Hattiesburg by 40 last week, and they won by 34. So it was close.
Y'all were texting me, dude, and I was where was I?
Yeah,
I was doing I was doing winter performance. But
you were doing winter performance with our team, and we were not there, but Jackson went with me. Jackson actually did radio with me Friday night because Jerome was out, so Jackson and I did the radio broadcast.
Y'all doing a halftime show?
Yeah, Joe came and talked at halftime. Sure did. Yep. And so we won 48-14 last week. We got Pascagoula coming to town this week. Goula's good now. They're really good. They went 9-2 this season. So it'll be a challenge. What you got, Joe?
First off, man, let me just ask because I know you're the guy. You know the stats. Who did they lose to?
They lost to Picayune, and they lost to I'll look it up. Let me look it up. They lost to Picayune.
Look, if they lost to Picayune's wing T, because that's what they known for.
Yeah.
All right.
And Picayune's the one seed in their region. I'm sorry, they lost to Picayune and they lost to George County. That's who they lost to.
Okay. All right.
George County was good. All right.
Yeah. All right. Picayune's the 1, George County's the 2, Pascagoula was the 3. George County's got a 5-star quarterback, Deuce Knight, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he can throw it. He can throw it. Man, my prediction, man, all I'm gonna say is them Tigers gonna make it happen, but they just can't play with Pascagoula like they played with Hancock.
Right.
Half.
They got to put them away. Got to put them away.
Can't do that. We were playing down to their level the first half.
You got to rise up to the competition, baby. Rise up.
I ain't too much like
I agree.
that. But I got Hattiesburg by. I got the score being 35-14.
Okay.
11.
It's doable. I think Hattiesburg's defense will do a good job. Pascagoula throws it around a lot. Their quarterback's really good. They got some good receivers. They throw it around a good bit. I think that sets up pretty well for our defense. Our defensive line is a bunch of monsters up there. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be exciting. So
I think maybe they tore around. Not necessarily tore. I think maybe the score in the first half probably be 14-7. I think we come out the third quarter and we let it eat. You know what I'm saying? We get the big guys, Tristan Keys and the slot receiver. Mm-hmm. What's his name?
Barnett, Tyree Barnett.
Yeah, Barnett. I think those boys they get the going in the second half, and then maybe we shut it down. That's my prediction.
We've done that a couple of times this season where we have gone in at halftime tied. In fact, the last 2 games of the season, gone in at halftime tied and came out and dominated the second half. So hopefully Friday night though we'll just put them away early and move on to the South State Championship. I appreciate you guys. This was fun. I like the third element. It makes for good conversation and different perspectives and that kind of thing. But any final thoughts from you guys before we go?
Let's just keep it rolling. It's hard with the schedules, but we're gonna push through it. It might be late at night like this. All of us get tired and working, and us 2 old guys. Since this is the old guys episode, we're gonna name it. I love it. I told you last week that I missed it, theme park, and we're gonna keep doing it. But what's gonna help is you guys go subscribe. So we got Chancy Rogers. Go subscribe to my YouTube. Go do that. Joe's got his YouTube. Say your YouTube.
Oh yeah, so my YouTube is G Ranch Productions or G Ranch PROD. So that is the YouTube channel there.
And your Instagram.
My Instagram is Joe Gray _Jr. And I want to figure out, Charlie, if we can there's a way that we can put like this view on my Instagram or the YouTube, because there's a lot of people that, you know what I'm saying, that's definitely is going to be following this, especially since I've been putting it up there. Like I was just on Instagram Live and I had roughly like 400 people just like off the
You
first
got a
like
lot
10
of
minutes
followers.
kind of come down.
Well,
So
the thing is, think about a podcast. I mean, it's just like a radio show, except you can listen to it anytime you want to. So, Charlie puts it out to every platform possible that you listen to podcasts.
Okay.
So you can go to your iTunes. That's where I listen to the like whatever's on the Apple phone, Spotify. It's all on there. So then go and listen to the audio. But then also you can go like me. I listen to my podcast most of the time on YouTube. So this will be posted on YouTube on my page. You just go and click on it. But it is good, Joe, to go live, just like I'm going live here. I'll probably mix it up, just even though they got this view with just me, it gets them interested and say, hey, you want to go listen to the whole podcast, go click on it, and it's going to help.
Yeah.
And then, then we're going to start getting our sponsors back in and get this thing rolling. We need some mics. I got to hook Charlie up with some more stuff. He's got the real studio there. We're kind of on the road, but we're going to keep hooking Charlie up with stuff. So get this thing nicer and make it easier on us for sure. But we had some good viewers like consistent tonight. I feel like
I got a mic. Check that out.
Oh, you did
that thing official.
Yeah,
official.
man.
Yeah, you do sound good. You sound better than all of us. But I'm going to get me a TikTok one. I'm tired of my game set head ones. But I do like being able to hear y'all. It cuts out the background noise because Nolan's probably got a YouTube on right now. But yeah, y'all share, go subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe on YouTube, so don't let that scare you. That helps. I post my baseball stuff on there. Joe posts all his stuff. It just helps. We kind of, everybody's kind of got their social media following stuff. And Swamp Boys wants Nolan to be on the next one. So he wasn't in a very good mood. This is a little bit like getting into his bedtime. He has to have like 10 hours of sleep. Like we opened the show with sleep, ended the show with sleep. We all going to go to sleep. I need some sleep. I've been rolling. Joe, you need some sleep because you're driving, bro.
Yeah, don't sleep while you're driving, though.
Nah, you straight, man. Look, I think I'm for what I'm trying to get squared away. I might be in Colorado tomorrow. So,
stop by and see Travis Hunter. Well, let's talk Coach Prime and Travis Hunter and Shador next week. Let's
yeah.
And maybe
get them on the
show. If they beat Kansas, they're going to be in a situation here in a little bit. So,
All right. I'm Charlie Rogers, Chancy Rogers, Joe Gray. This is Small Ball Podcast. Until next time, good night.
Good night. Good job, boys. I think that was a fun one.